Hi and hello. You're welcome to another episode of the Crystallizers, and we're talking about how to create substance out of nothingness. That's pretty much what the Crystallizers is talking about. And the two previous sessions we talked about the laws of naming, and the introduction to the Crystallizers. So today we're just going to go forward with it so that we can keep moving forward and understand better things to do. One thing I'd also want to emphasize that the art of crystallizing is not necessarily an easy thing, because we need to learn through new ways of awareness, of contemplation, of making things happen. Okay, so sometimes when you try these things out and it seems like you're not getting it, that's not a time to quit. It just means that there's a whole lot more you need to understand. And the beauty of the crystallizers is that it's more experiential than it's theoretical. So many of the things we'll be talking about, it's not about having the head knowledge of them, but it's having the experiential knowledge of them. So you need to experience or become aware of what all of these things are. Okay, so I felt it's necessary for me to get that on the way. Okay, so last week or the last time we're supposed to start with some of the laws that helps us in the art of crystallizing, but because of that we had to go into the protocol of naming when we realized that people had issues with that. So we're really going to get right on with crystallizing. Now, crystallizing isn't a fun thing, but it's a very serious thing, and there will be challenges along the way. Everyone who has crystallized something had a challenge. It took time. They needed to do things over and over again until they got in. Okay, but the truth is that if you can do it right, you will have the results to show for it. Okay, and one thing we also talked about the previous time is the place of the word, where we mentioned logos endiathetos and logos prophoricus. Logos endiathetos meaning the word that is endued, and logos prophoricus meaning the uttered word. We will find the importance of all of this sometimes ahead. Okay, so we need to remember that. So we had a task where people came up with the names for the year, and the way to come up with the name for the year, it's something quite interesting. Okay, you need to look within yourself. And oftentimes, as cliche as that may sound, that is the path to go. That is the thing to do. There are many people who look outside of them to get inspiration. It doesn't mean that's a wrong thing to do. It only means that you're not going to the purest form of energy to get whatever it is you want to create. Why is that? Everything you look outside of you, the best inspiration you're going to get is a weak innovation or a copy of someone else's pure ideas. But when you choose to look within yourself, you are able to engage with the purity of energy and idea. And when you learn the ways and the arts of getting things done, you can actually get a whole lot more results than people who always look exterior to get inspiration. Emphasis on the word always. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't look outside. It just means that try as much as possible to make sure that the first thing to do is to look within yourself. That's where all the power lies. Okay, so that's something you need to pretty much understand before we go on, because it's in looking within yourself you get to realize that everything you need to create anything in the world is first within you. And that's why you need to learn to access the spiritual sides of you, because that's where all of the power is, that's where all the secrets are, that's where all the wisdoms are, and it's something we need to find to do. So the first law we'll be talking about is what I call the law of divine oneness. Okay, and it simply states that everything is connected to everything else. So what you think, what you say, what you do, and what you believe will have a corresponding effect on you, on others, and on the environment around you. And that is very important. So that really does mean that everything that happens to you, one way or the other, whether by your act or omission, had your own permission to it. Okay, so before you start to blame people for the things that happen to you, it's important to first look at yourself and say, okay, how did I permit these things to happen? Because nothing in this world will really inflict in the way it should if you did not permit it in one way or the other. Everything that happens to man on earth is by the permission of man. That is the first thing you need to understand. And also, you need to know that everything is connected. Why is that necessary? Before you can create things, you need to understand the connectedness of things. Okay, how is the plane connected to the bird? How is the submarine connected to the fish? There is comparisons that we see. And this means that we need to be very imaginary people. Okay, imaginary from the concept of the spiritual. When we look within ourselves, we begin to catch synapses and images, and ideas and flashes. Then see how we can make sense of these things. That is where you combine thinking within yourself and also seeing that everything is connected. Now, it's not about knowing that everything is connected. It's about seeing that everything is connected. So you really need to, at this point, engage your eyes or your sense to actually see that everything is connected. Because the truth is, if you don't see the connectedness between everything, if it's just head knowledge that you have, it's going to be difficult really to crystallize things. Okay, so it's more about a seeing. So you have to be in a calm environment. You need to be still and begin to ponder and contemplate seeing things within yourself. I really wouldn't want to go much into that right now so that it doesn't take a lot of time. If you have questions as regards how that is done, you could ask me later. But for now, I think it's imperative that we move on. Okay, so moving on. The first thing is knowing that everything is connected. It's called the law of divine oneness. Okay, everything that we have is connected to everything that there are. The past, the present, and the future in some way are connected. So how can you find the connection between the past, the present, and future? Now that is the task of a true crystallizer, and it's something we really need to put together, and find the solutions to. And these things wouldn't come easy, but you have to do that. Now, the second law that I'll be talking about is the law of vibration, and that's very, very important. And it pretty much says that everything around you is in a state of constant vibration, whether they are matter, like physical things, solid, liquid, gases. Everything vibrates. It gets a little bit more interesting when we get to understand that vibration is also emotional. So vibrations are emotional. We have vibrational levels that helps us understand what emotions are. Your food vibrates, your phone vibrates, even you as a person vibrates. Blood as it moves vibrates. There is a whole lot of vibration in your system, and that really is something that would help you know vibration. And there are no two ways about it. The way to get to know about vibrations is by you being as still as possible. For example, if you want to check the pulse of a person, you need to be silent and still so that you can feel for the pulse. That's how to go about vibration. And the way to go about it is the way you check for pulse, that little movement, sensing it for it. Now, you now try to go as low as possible to the lowest level of vibrations you can think or feel. And that's really going to take some work, okay? I'm just telling you all of this. We're really going to get to times where we have practicalized and make something do with it. So that's low vibration. Everything vibrates. And it's as a reason of these vibrations that you can contact things and understand the resources that are at your disposal. And that's what vibration is all about. The third one that I'll be talking about is the law of action. And it says that for anything to manifest on the earth, it only comes by actions, not by intentions, but by action. Everything that is created as because someone made an action. You are here on earth because your parents took action. Okay, so you need to understand that it's good to think, it's good to imagine, it's good to plan, but if you do not take action, then nothing will happen. There's sometimes people get clogged in that euphoria where they're all mental and meditative, and that's all there is, and they don't take action. So people have so great ideas, but because they're not taking action, nothing is happening. So one thing you need to learn is that for every thought that comes to you, for every impression that comes to you, you have to actually weigh them to be sure that they're true thoughts, they're good thoughts, and their consequences are actually good before you take the actions anyway. But this is how I would advise you to go. When we talked about the logos and diethetos, which is endued word, the word that you process, that you think about, that you meditate, that is the first thing you need. So when thoughts come into your mind, when emotions come into your mind, when ideas come into your mind, you need to think back and think through it first. What will be the consequences of you taking actions based on these emotions, these ideas, and these plans? Try to think through the consequences first. It is only when you're satisfied with the consequences that you should go forward to take action. If you have not thought about the consequences of these actions, it is not advisable to take the actions in the first place. And that's one important law about taking action. Ruminate upon it in your mind and make sure that it gets the kind of result you'd really hope for. Not until then should you take action. Because there are many times people say, oh, law of action, you have to act. And they do things that create destructions and cacophony in the universe. That is not what crystallizing is about. And that is why you need to be true to yourself. You need to be calm. You need to be pure, so that the thoughts and the vibrations you deal with are pure thoughts and pure vibrations. I know all of this as sound of vibrations, blah, blah. But I need you to understand that these things are actually spiritual. And many people who are game changers and world changers today, they actually had to go through these parts. All right. So I'll be stopping here today with the first three laws. The first being the law of divine oneness, that everything is connected to everything else. The second law is the law of vibration, that everything is in a constant state of vibration. And the third being the law of action, that nothing will manifest upon the earth unless you take action. So this is what I want you to do. Based on the name of the year that you have, I want you to think about how connected that year is to you and to everyone around you, and try to feel for the vibrations. I'm going to tell you in the group how to feel for vibrations, and then how to take the strategic point of action. Now, if you are able to do these three things for a start, you will start seeing changes in your life. And one of the changes is, don't be too quick to speak, because speaking is action. Be sure that the words you speak make sense and push you forward to the direction of your dreams. I'm going to be stopping it now so that you have time to breathe upon it and ruminate more about this. My name is Harkheindzel, Omiyale, the Spirit Mentalist, and this is the Crystallizers.